Welcome back to tonight's Sad Reality. Man, was last night's video something? I spent like, gosh, probably like an hour or so, maybe even more than that, just preparing for it. But I'm not gonna linger on that. I'm gonna keep moving on towards later and greater things. Finally got a haircut today. um, and man, let me tell you, I was kind of in due need for it. Um, like my hair is not super long at all, but it's kind of covers my ears a little bit sometimes, and I don't like when it covers my ears, admittedly, especially around the sides. It just kind of gets in the way. And that's usually the time I'm like, okay, it's time to go get a haircut, you know? But, what I will say, kind of like this channel does the complete opposite of, um, what's nice is not maybe a story every day, but maybe a story once a month. A really genuinely good story, something that kind of thrills you, something you're like, hey, this is something to learn, to anticipate even. But it's kind of funny because I feel like I only ever get to go see the barber as they're called, or I just go to Supercuts um, once every pretty much every month, maybe a month and a half if I had to guess at this point. But the same one I go to, it's always the same one. I mean, there's another one that's like a little bit further away, and I'll only ever go there as if I like really need a haircut if important people are visiting, like the district manager, or maybe potentially my future employers, whatever. But regardless, I pretty much go to the same place, and I don't even remember her name sadly. But I think 2 or 3 times now I've had the same stylist, and sadly she's not my favorite as far as um, I'm not sure if personality is the right word or character or whatever, because today she was yelling at some electrician. Um, but I mean, she's not my favorite in the sense of I feel like there's this one guy who does a fantastic job. I don't know if it's a little bit of autism or what, but he's just like way too good at his job for it to be a human normal thing. I don't even know how to describe it. He's just really good. That's not really the point of my story here, but so I had her today, and I had her. That's phenomenal phrasing. Again, I'm really tired, as kind of the staple of this channel. But I get in and check in. I leave after work, which funny enough, my district manager was there. And we're talking about Stranger Things, and he hit me with the whole idea of Stranger Things, the finale. What if, what if the finale was actually all happening inside their heads, and Vecna had actually gotten to them? Um, it was like some Twitter thing, probably he'd seen, whatever. But I was like, actually, that's kind of a goated theory because I like the writing there that the fandom has created more than the actual writing in the show itself, which I feel like a lot of people might agree with that sentiment. But after talking with him about Stranger Things, I mean, we could talk about anything with the store. I mean, the fact I got 128 credit cards in the last 2 months between what, like 11.5 and the second of this year, funny enough. But grab my phone, open up Supercuts app, and check in for a thing like 5 minutes before I get there. It's like 2:23, and then I set it for 2:30. Drive over there. It's a little like it's like 2:29, and the holes in my pockets are slowly eroding. In fact, my keys fall through my pockets. I'm super lazy. If that's not obvious by the tone of my voice, the way I do things. I have blisters on my heels, and oh, I forgot this is a part of the game. You have to defend your pickles now. But as part of having blisters on my uh ankles or whatever, there's like so many things going on now that I'm trying to kind of focus on. But I could literally just go out and buy socks that would like protect me from that, and the entire reason it's a problem is because I got new shoes for Christmas that I just didn't want to fix. But I just literally let the blisters keep getting worse and worse until they bled, which may be TMI, but that's just the way I exist, I guess. Creature of despair and not doing anything unless I absolutely have to for whatever reason. Uh, but regardless, so I haven't fixed the whole holes in my pockets, and that's been the case for literal months. I'm thinking probably since like at least July of last year. It's probably a scary thought, but yeah, I literally wear the same pants every day for work. Not the point of my story though. I guess now you get to meet me. Oh, I need shield penetration. This is a thing on the shop I don't have yet. Buy random upgrades, please. +7. There we are. But, I got there, check in. Everything's cool. In fact, there's not really much going on. Both stylists that are there, I think, are literally just on their phones, hanging around. Um, so, for what it's worth, I can understand not really doing much. I mean, it's a job that requires people to be around, and from the story I would get, I could tell people don't really care enough to do much. But, the lady, she's very nice with me at the very least, regardless of how she treated the electrician that would walk in about halfway through our conversation. But we start talking about all sorts of things. It goes from AI to like the bubble's gonna burst eventually to college to I live in North Carolina, but the whole North Carolina is keeping or is like lowering is it GPA? I think it's GPA to like 2.6 or something freakishly low. Just to try to keep students in college for education rates or whatever. Which I can understand, like it's a big tech area, but to me it's just I think there's plenty of human resources, but it's not the many people that make a difference, it's the few, admittedly. You get the really smart people in some good places, and crazy things will happen. But I can understand wanting to keep everyone there if you're, like, upper echelons of managing the area, like a politician or something, I don't know. Or maybe schooling, because, you know, they want money from people, which is a whole other thing we talked about as well. We talked about all sorts of these things, and then at some point, electrician walks in, got a big bag, and I remember the other stylist who was still on her phone at this point, she looks up at him and she's like, "You an electrician or something?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then she points to the back and she's like, "Yeah, there's something back there." And he's like, "Okay." And he goes to the back and she's like, "Now, I think my boss wanted me to put a surge protector on here, but if it was me, I'd put an outlet." And by whatever voice I just used, that was the stylist talking to me. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, outlets are nice to make things happen, I guess. Um, but kind of what she's saying, like, it's what ends up happening anyways. Like, she thinks that there needs to be an outlet, even though her manager said there needs to be a surge protector, but apparently her manager hasn't even visited the building since she's been working there for over 4 months now. And she's like, it's a job that not many people keep, turnover rate, they don't get paid super well, so why do they really care? Although she's trying to kind of do that job. Although at one point she ends up yelling at the electrician because he ends up pulling out some wire from the wall that disconnects her computer while she's trying to wring out the haircut that she just serviced me on or whatever. So it was a bit of a funny mess. But the irony is I'm not pissed off by these things. In fact, this is more entertainment than I get in a day, and maybe it wasn't exactly making her day. But in kind of some weird ways it made mine, because I'm like, hey, we're all human. There's a little bit of humor to all the nonsense that goes on in our lives. And I don't know, just quite frankly, I learning from people, seeing people interact. I mean, sure, none of that was a good interaction to have, maybe, other than like agreeing, yes, school sucks, yes, hate the way our country, whatever, you know, generic adult talk. Um, it's always the haircuts, though. It is always the haircuts, so there's something going on. It's just kind of an experience. So, if you haven't gotten a haircut in a while, I implore you to do so, because, I don't know, take care of yourself, do a better job than I do, take care of myself anyways. That said, I think it's almost 12:50 tonight. I'm tired. I'm gonna make things work though. Another like 7 hours of sleep, get back to my job, another 3 days of working, and then back to slacking off and not finding an editor for YouTube and not fixing my other problems. So, thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a fantastic rest of your day, night, evening, morning, etc. And I suppose I'll see you in tomorrow's Sad Reality. Have a good one, y'all.